welcome to Hedgehog Hollow. Cold season is officially here, both with us and with the clocks changing. And today I'm bringing you a fabulous winter card called Cold Hands, Warm Heart. We're using the new waffle flower releases. We're going to be using their two-step wood grain. I'm going to show you how to get some great effects with that. Plus, we're going to create these lovely mice. We're going to colour them with some Copics. Got some great techniques to show you. Plus, I'm going to show you how to create your own ice lake down at the bottom too. So, let's get started. So today we're working with some fantastic waffle flower sets, and Waffle Flower have also given us a wonderful giveaway that will be over on the blog, so do check out the linked blog post below as well. First of all, I'm going to be working with the Cold Hands set to create a lovely heart in the middle of our card, so that's how we're going to create that. And we're also going to be creating a background using the layering wood grain. This is a great stamp, and let me show you how it works. So in my MISTI, and you can use the Tim Holtz platform, whatever you have in your craft room, there are two stages to your stamp. So this is stage 1 and this is stage 2. This is the lighter stage here. And I'm going to peel off the back. We've got a nice solid photopolymer here. So let's do our first layer. And I'm just going to lay it on the top here, and I'm going to also press this up against the guides. This stamp is card front size, so it's half a card front. Or actually you need 3 for a full card front, but I've already chopped mine down a little bit, so mine is 4 by 5 1/4, the piece that I'm stamping on here. And I'm going to place a craft mat underneath, because that's going to get any excess that's going to be on there as well. So I have these cut down to size, and I'm going to start with the antique linen. So I'm just inking that up over here. And we'll press that down. I'm going to do it just a second time, just because it's a new photopolymer. I haven't conditioned it or anything. It's just a little bit more watery in areas. So now we're ready to create our centerpiece, and I've die cut a heart and a scalloped heart from the Umbrella Crafts set. So this is the nested hearts and the nested scalloped hearts. So I use this outer solid heart with the outer scalloped heart, and that creates a beautiful layering effect, which is what we're going to use. The red is the Lawn Fawn, I think it's called Chili Pepper Red. Now, normally if you use a heart or something in your MISTI, you could put it in the corner like that, but it's not very easy to use. So again, craft mat that's still in there. I'm going to put a little bit of temporary adhesive on the back. Help if I put it the right way around. Just a little bit like that. So this is Express It cardstock. I'm using this because I'm going to be working with Copics. Now, of course, you could have used a magnet and things, but I just find that this is a much easier way to go with small things. And I often, if I stamp on a slit for some sentiments and things, I will do the same thing. Now, I'm going to be using the two lovely mice that are ice skating. And I kind of want them to be touching noses almost. So I'm going to pick them up, and I'm going to stamp them out with a black, this is My Favourite Things Black Hybrid. It's my favourite for working with Copics. And I'll stamp them a second time. And you could also watercolour with the hybrid. You can mix different mediums. So if I wanted to add a bit of Zig pens and some Copics, that hybrid is not going to react at all. A little bit of that ear missing. I'm just going to touch the ears in a little bit more. Like so. And then the great thing about this temporary adhesive is I can pick it straight off again. And I have my piece of printer paper that again I can use that temporary adhesive on, and that's going to hold it down while I colour. So I have a selection of Copics here, and I'm actually going to be using some nice E's to colour them in with. I decided to go a little bit lighter on these with regards to my E's. So I have the E4s. So this is the E42, 43 and 44. Now I'm going to create my solid base layer. So this is my E42. And a list of all the Copics that I use will be over on the blog as well, so hop on over and into the giveaway, and if you'd like to know what Copic colours I've used, you can see these over there too. If you saw my Whimsy Wednesday mice, you'll have seen I coloured them in using a fur technique. I'm actually going to colour these more solid because they seem a little bit more playful and characterful, and I think that will suit them better. So I'm just touching in my base layer. I want to saturate my cardstock, so if I picked it up I'd be able to see the outline of these mice on the other side. If you have any blotches or patches, then apply a second layer just until you have a nice even coverage. Like so. I'm actually going to do this bit solid as well, and then I'll add the pink in on the second layer. I'm avoiding their tummies because I'm going to do something different in there too. And I'm avoiding that pink area in their cheeks too. And when you're colouring with Copics, it's really important to colour on something porous so that the ink, as it soaks through, has somewhere to go. I do Copic colour on Neenah, but I find with the Espresso I get a more even blend. My colours seem to stay wetter a little bit longer, and also I don't seem to get as many bleeds as if I use the Neenah. So here I'm just starting to lay in some extra colour. So this is my E43. From the nose in. And the other nice thing about having used that temporary adhesive is my piece is going to stick down. It's not going to move around as I flick my pen. And if I want to move it, I can just move the whole piece around. Again, I'm going up to my darkest colour. This is my E44. Back to my 43. I'm going to work on a section at a time just so that I know it's nice and wet still, and then work down to my 42. And again I'm going to add some flicks from the nose, outline the hat and the ears, and just kind of bring that down. going to work on their tummies. And I'm just going to flick up. This is a W0. So I'm just flicking up a little bit. And then I'm going to use my W2, which is that nice warm W, to add a bit more in there. And then you could even go up to a W4 just for some little texture at the bottom here, just to make it look even more rounded. And then back to my 2. And back to my 0. So you can see that in there too. Then I'm going to use my E93 to start adding in some blush. I'm actually going to put a base of W0 into their cheeks. So that's a really, really light browny sort of grey. And then that's going to allow me to just kind of flick those cheeks in. And if I've missed anywhere, it's not going to look white. It's also not going to look too solid. I'm going to add some of that into the centre of that ear as well. And probably into the centre of this ear, even though they haven't put those lines there, just to give you that impression. Just in those centres, just gives you a nice little bit of blush. And if you need to pull it out, you can do that on there too. Now we're ready to add their accessories. So on the girl, I'm going to be using some RV11, 13 and 14. That's what I've grabbed. I'll give her a nice little pink scarf. And something I learned recently on my Copic course is if you actually take both lids off, you will equalise the pressure in your pen. And if you have a particularly juicy one that maybe drips, we've all had those drips, that will stop it. I was told that if you do this, you'll actually see that drip suck back in because of the way the pressure equalises. For the little guy, I'm going to be using a BG32 and a 23. And that is going to be his hat and his mittens. And I'm also going to use a grey. Now this was a number 23 and 32. So I'm looking at 2s and 3s of my last number. So that means that if I want to add some more texture, I can choose a grey of a similar number. So this is a C3, and this is going to help me just add a little bit more in as well. And that's really kind of helped that as well. Now I want to add some grounding to them because at the minute they look like they're skating in midair. So I'm taking my BG quadruple 0 and I'm starting to make flicks around the foot, or the feet I should say, the feet that are on the ground. And then this is my B00, and I'm reinforcing that a little bit more. And then again going back in with that BG. And that really makes them look like they are skating on something. I'm going to pull those flicks all the way down, and I'm going to do them with both colours. Just soften that up. So that really does make them look like they're skating up their heart as well. So now I can pull this off. It's temporary adhesive, so it's not going to stick or leave any marks or pull anything, which is really nice. So I'm going to now use some more permanent adhesive with my funky tape runner here. And I'm going to stick this into the centre of my heart. And I'm going to offer that up onto here. Now I want to add some sort of sentiment on here. And with the set you get cold hands, a warm heart. So I'm going to see about adding those onto here. And I'm thinking either side of the point of the heart. So cold hands, warm heart. So again, I'm going to grab my MISTI tool. I'm going to actually put it in this top corner. And I'm going to use my MISTI corner, can't talk this afternoon, to make sure they're nice and straight here. I also want them to be quite even towards the edges. I'm just going to... And we can touch our heart in just to make sure that's going to fit nicely. So I'm going to leave my MISTI corner there while I pick up my pieces like this. And now I'm going to use my powder tool quite liberally, just in case there's any wet ink on there. I don't want my embossing powder sticking. Feels pretty dry, but let's just be sure. I'm going to be using my Ranger Superfine Black embossing powder. I have my tidy tray here, and I have my VersaMark. This is actually one of the Dazzles. You can use the Dazzles, you can use the regular VersaMark. I tend to just pick up whatever's in the top of my drawer, but all of them will work for you just fine. Just because it's a little bit difficult to see, I'm going to make sure that I have all that detail and do that twice. And now we can add on our embossing powder. Let's back out here for a second. Now I love these tidy trays. Tiny trays, I should say. So there's our warm heart. There's our cold hands. A nice flick from the back. And then you can just very carefully pop your embossing powder out. If you have any excess like this, or you need to just clean it out, just grab your powder tool or a paintbrush. Goes back in perfectly. So now I'm going to grab my Wagner heat tool. So now we have it set, I can mount it up onto our card. Now for a card base, I'm going to be using the Neenah Desert Sand. So here I have the card base, and we're just going to offer it out. I just want to see what it looks like on the white. I think I prefer the white. So this is just a piece of 8.5 by 11. This is Neenah Solar White. I have all of these pre-cut already. Confirm that up with my bone folder. Much prefer that. So I'm going to use my Tonic Funky Tape Runner on this as well. Really nice, strong adhesive to work with. So, and then I'm going to put some foam on the back of my piece here. I had some foam left over from a previous project, and I need some snips. So now I'm going to stick that on there. Make sure that point kind of intersects between the whole cold hands, warm heart. And the final step I want to do is use some Nuvo crystal drops. And these are glitter drops, and they're the White Blizzard. Always start on the back of my hand. And then the next thing I do is I'm going to just kind of drag, exactly as we did really with those flicks, but just adding a bit more texture, and it adds a little bit of glimmer to the card as well. You could do this before you stick it on, but I always do it afterwards just so that I don't have to wait for it to dry. And I just noticed that we missed their little boots, so I'm just going to take some C3 and touch in their little boots. And I'm going to take some W2 with a foundation for the legs, and some E42 to just darken those up a little bit. So there we go. So there is our finished card. You can see some photos and close-ups on your screen now. They are all available to pin on your Pinterest on either the Hedgehog Hollow board or on the blog as well. And don't forget to hop on over to the blog to enter the giveaway that Waffle Flower have given us. And I will see you again very soon for some more inspiration. Do give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and we'd love it if you subscribed here at Hedgehog Hollow and come back regularly for more videos. Happy stamping! Bye!